Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In this particular video, we are going to continue with our mapping series and are going to discuss in detail about the important rivers of India, which is going to be very relevant from the prelims 2026 perspective. We know that if you talk about the mapping based question that is being asked in UPSC Prelims from Indian geography, most of the questions are based on rivers. So let us try to look at the facts that can be relevant for the examination. Now, first of all, if you talk about the river system of India, it is classified largely on the basis of origin. On the basis of origin, rivers are either classified as the Himalayan river system, referring to the rivers originating from the mighty Himalayas in the north, and then for the second, you have the peninsular river system, which refer to the river originating from the mountains and plateaus of peninsular India. Now, Himalayan rivers, obviously, because they derive their origin from the glacier, they are perennial in nature. That means no matter which season, which month you are talking about, there is continuous and availability of enough water volume in the river. On the other hand, peninsular rivers suffer from the shortage of water in the dry season, as they largely depend upon the monsoon rainfall for their water supply. So first, if you take a look at the Himalayan river system, they are broadly classified into three major river systems: the Indus river system, the Ganga river system, and then we have the Brahmaputra river system. So when you talk about the Indus river system refer to the main river, that is Indus, along with five of its tributaries, which are all of them are, we can say, left bank tributaries. These are Chenab, Jhelum, Ravi, Byas, and Satluj. Indus is also a river that is passing through three different countries. It originates in Tibet, then it flows across the Leh region of India in Ladakh Union Territory, and then finally it enters Pakistan, where it discharged its water in the Arabian Sea after passing through the this port of Karachi. So if you take a look at the Indus river system on the map, we can draw here the origin point. That is the first important fact you have to keep in mind. The origin point of Indus river is referred as a glacier, that is referred as Bokhar Chu glacier. Bokhar Chu glacier is located in the Kailash range, and from Kailash range, as you can see, river moves in the northwestward direction. It passes through Demchok. Demchok is the name of pass, and then after passing through Demchok Pass, it enters India, Leh territory. It flows between the Ladakh range and Jayanagara range, and then it enters the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Then it takes a southward turn, and then it flows out in the Arabian Sea. Now, the major tributary, as you have discussed, is Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Byas, and Satluj. Byas is the river that is located completely within India. Satluj is a river that originates again from the same Kailash range, from a place that is called as Rakastal. Rakastal again is located in Tibet. It enters India through a pass that is called as Shipkila Pass. Shipkila Pass is a notable pass, important pass in the state of Himachal Pradesh, and then it joins Byas, and the confluence point is called as Harike. Then further it carries water from Byas, meets and then joins the Chenab that is coming from the north. Now, interestingly, Chenab river that is coming from north also carries water of the other two rivers such as Ravi and Jhelum. Then Chenab and Satluj join each other at a place called as Panjanad, and then the final stream that is believed to be the Satluj river goes and meet with the river Indus near the place that is called as Mithankot, and then Indus, carrying water from all of its tributaries, is discharging outward. Interestingly, several tributaries of Indus are joining it in Pakistan also, such as the Hindu Kush range of Afghanistan. You have several rivers such as Kabul, you have Swat, Kunar, then we have Tochi, Gomal, Kundar, and Jhob. So these are minor tributaries, but nonetheless important tributaries. So apart from these tributaries, two other names you can keep in mind. One is the river Shok that originates from the Siachen glacier in the Karakoram range, and then it is joined by another river called as Nubra river. So Shyok river, Nubra river, both of these rivers then further join together and then go and meet with river Indus somewhere to the north of the Ladakh range itself as such. That is how we can understand the overall course of the river. If you look at the length of river Indus, it is somewhere 2,900 kilometers all the way from the head to mouth. Now, if you talk about the important tributaries here, the origin point of important tributaries is very important from prelims examination. So Jhelum originates from Verinag. Verinag is located in Jammu and Kashmir, and you can see from here basically the length of the rivers are given as well. 724 km. Chenab originates from again Baralacha Pass that is located in Himachal Pradesh. Length is given. Ravi originates from Rohtang Pass, again in the state of Himachal Pradesh. Beas also originate from the Rohtang Pass of Himachal Pradesh, and as we have discussed, the Satluj river originates from Rakastal. Satluj is the longest tributary of river Indus, the total length being 1450 km, and the largest tributary of river Indus, if it is asked, you should know it is the river Chenab. The largest tributary we define on the basis of the volume of water, longest tributary we define on the basis of the length of the river stream as such. That's about the Indus river system. Coming to the next river system, which is also the longest river of India, and that is Ganga river. So if we talk about Ganga river, Ganga originates from a place called as Gangotri glacier. Basically, it is made up of two streams from Gangotri. If you talk about the Gangotri glacier, and then you have the glacier that is Alaknanda, we can say. So from Gangotri, the river that originates, it is called as Bhagirathi. Bhagirathi. And then near Badrinath, you have the origin of river Alaknanda. Both of them join together. After joining, they flow in the eastward direction and they are referred by the name of Ganga. Interestingly, the place where Bhagirathi river and the Alaknanda river join together, that place is called as Deoprayag. So the popular name of Ganga is only after Deoprayag. Before you have two major streams, Bhagirathi and Alaknanda. The river length is about 2525 km, again from the head to mouth. It passes through 5 states of India. The longest stretch is lying Uttar Pradesh, but before it passes through Uttarakhand. In Bihar, it flows for 445 km. Jharkhand, it flows for about 50 km. And then finally, in West Bengal, it flows for 520 km. Interestingly, when it enters West Bengal, it splits into two branches. One branch that is referred as Hooghly flows through the state of West Bengal, while the other branch then flows in the Bangladesh, where it is referred by the name of Padma River. Now, the splitting, where it happens in West Bengal, this also you can keep in mind. It is the Farakka. Farakka is the name of barrage. So, near Farakka barrage, the river is splitting out. Overall, it is very important for the Indian agriculture as well as for the drinking water perspective, because it covers a large area. 86,000 square kilometers of area is covered by Ganga river system alone. If you take a look at the Ganga river system, this is how we can understand. You have the Haridwar, Rishikesh, and then flowing through different states. If you take a look at the tributaries of Ganga, as you can see, this is Farakka barrage. We have said here you have a splitting. So the important tributaries, most of the tributary of Ganga are left bank tributary. So if you look at name here, the first important tributary is called as river Ramganga. Further, as you go to the east, you will find second important tributaries called as Gomati river. Then further, you have Ghagra river. Now, Ghagra river is made up of two streams. One is called as Sarda river, other is called as Karnali, basically Karnali river. So Kali and Karnali, Sarda or Karnali, Sarda and Kali both are same. So they join together to form river Ghagra, and Ghagra is then further joined by another tributary called as Rapti. So Rapti river. So Ghagra. Then next we have is important tributary called as Gandak river. Further you have Kosi river, fifth one, and the sixth one is Mahananda river. So Mahananda river again, it basically originates from the Western Ghat, Darjeeling Hill as such. So these are the 6 major left bank tributary of Ganga river. Why left bank? Because these rivers are coming and joining Ganga river along its left bank. And then if you look at the right side, the longest tributary of Ganga, yes, that is river Yamuna. So longest tributary of river Ganga is Yamuna. It is example of right bank tributary. Yamuna river originates from a place called as Bandar Pooch. Bandar Pooch means the tail of monkey. So Bandar Pooch Peak, that is part of the Yamunotri glacier. So from Bandar Pooch Peak of Yamunotri glacier, river Yamuna originate. It is the longest tributary. It joins Ganga near the place Prayagraj. Modern day it is called as Prayagraj. Old name, as you can see, was Allahabad. And Yamuna then further is joined by several rivers like Chambal, Sindh, Kain, Betwa and all that. Apart from Yamuna, the other major right bank tributary of Ganga, if you have to remember, you can call it as this one. This is called as river Son. Son originates from a place called as Amarkantak Hills in Madhya Pradesh. So after originating from the Amarkantak Hills in Madhya Pradesh, the river flows in the eastward direction and joins Ganga near city of Patna, which is the capital of Bihar. That's how we can understand the overall Ganga river system. Again, the longest tributary of Ganga river is considered to be the Yamuna river, while the Ghagra river is considered as the largest tributary. So that's how we classify it. The third important river of the Indus Himalayan river system is something that we can call as the Brahmaputra river system. Brahmaputra river system basically is made up of river Brahmaputra, which is known by different name in different places. So in the case of Tibet, where it originally begins from, the source is believed to be Angshi Glacier, also called as Chemayungdung Glacier. Basically, they are not same. So you have two different streams coming from both glacier. Both of them then supply water to Brahmaputra. But in the case of Tibet, the river Brahmaputra is locally called by the name of Yarlung Shangpo. Yarlung Shangpo is a local term which basically means the purifier. That means the river that purifies. It is originating from the south of a very famous lake in Tibet called as Kongyut So. So basically means lake. 150 km from the source of Indus and 35 km from the source of Satluj. So all the three rivers, as you can see, Indus, Satluj and Brahmaputra, they are originating very close to each other because all of them trace their origin to the same range, that is the Kailash range in Tibet, part of the Trans-Himalayas. Length of the river is roughly 3,180 kilometers. If you write here, the current length, if you measure all the way from the head to the mouth, is about 3,180 kilometers. Same like Indus, it passes through three countries. These are Tibet, that is part of China, India, and then we have Bangladesh. Now, while entering India, it passes through Gyalaperi and Namcha Barwa Peak at the Tibet-Arunachal border. So, originally the river is moving from west to east, and then near this junction, it takes a southward turns and start flowing from east to west as such. So, that's why the river is taking a U-turn near this Tibet-Arunachal border. Then, as it passes through the mountain, it cuts across a gorge. A gorge, if you understand, is a kind of a valley which is bound by a steep-sided mountain, a steep-sided, we can say, slopes. That is gorge like a structure. Sudden change in slope we see in this river from 2,450 meter to 135 meter. That's why it causes massive deposition of sediment, because you can imagine in a very short distance the slope is changing drastically, and thus the river velocity decreases significantly. If the river velocity decreases significantly, the sediment carrying capacity of river will reduce. So all the sediment it begins to deposit, forming alluvial fan and cone like a structure in the plain area. Then in the city of Sadia, town, we can say it is very small city, this place. So town of Sadia at Arunachal Assam border, it enters into plain, and then it is joined by two other important rivers called as Dibang river and Lohit river as well. That's how we can understand the Brahmaputra river system. As you can see, this is the entire flow, as you can see. Then near the we can say near this Dhubri. Dhubri is a place in Assam. Near Dhubri, it enters into Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, river is known by the name of river Jamuna as such. Now, while flowing through the Assam plain, it receives numerous tributaries. Most of these are coming from the hills, either from the Himalayas or from the Purvanchal hills. The notable tributary of Brahmaputra you should keep in mind are Subansuri river, then we have Kameng river, then we have Manas river, you have Sankos river, and most important is the Tista river, that is coming from the Sikkim Kanchenjunga mountain peak, and Sikkim joins Brahmaputra in Bangladesh. These are the five most notable tributaries. Some other tributaries that are coming from the south that we can say is a left bank tributary are rivers such as Dhansari, Kapili, and etc. So that's how we can understand the flow of river Brahmaputra. Now coming to the peninsular rivers, so a lot of peninsular rivers we have that most of them originate from the Western Ghat. So let us first take a look at the rivers which are flowing from west to east over peninsular India. We know that if we talk about the peninsular India, it is kind of tilted from northwest to southeast direction. So since the entire landmass itself is sloping from northwest to southeast direction, what happens? The river naturally follows the slope of land, and most of them are east flowing river. The major rivers of peninsular India are east flowing river. So four major river systems we can highlight here. Starting from north to south, you have Mahanadi river system, Godavari river system, Krishna river system, and then finally we have Kaveri river system. So let us take a look at each of these river one by one. So first of all, if you take a look at the river Mahanadi. Mahanadi river, this is the stream of Mahanadi. You can see Mahanadi river originates from Chhattisgarh. The place is called as Sihava. Sihava Plateau is the term that we can use here. So originating from Sihava Plateau, then it flows in the northward direction, then it turns eastward, then it turns southward, again eastward, and then keeps flowing east, and then it enters into Bay of Bengal near the city of Cuttack in Odisha. So this is the overall flow pattern of river, this Mahanadi. So as you can see up to here, it is flowing in the state of Chhattisgarh. Beyond this, it flows in the state of Odisha. And just when the river enters Odisha, we have constructed one of the largest dam of India, that is called as Hirakud Dam. So Hirakud Dam is located over river Mahanadi. In which state? The answer would be Odisha. It flows through the eastern ghats here, forming several gorge, Tikarpara being the important one. And near Naraj, then it forms a large massive delta which is used for the rice cultivation in this area. Tributary by Shivnath River, Hasdev River, Man River, and Ebe River. These are the four important left bank tributary of Mahanadi. And right bank tributaries are Jonk, Ong, and river Tail. So 7 important tributaries we can classify, we can define here, that are meeting river Mahanadi, and that is why it is a very important river, because it is joined by so many tributaries. It is very significant from the perspective of water security, agriculture, irrigation for the river, for both of the states, that is Odisha and the state of Chhattisgarh. Then the next river, which is also the longest river of the peninsular India, called as Dakshin Ganga, that is river Godavari. Now Godavari river originates from hill. This is called as Triambak Hills. Triambak Hill is located in the state of Maharashtra. So in the western ghat of western ghat, you have Triambak Hills. So from there, at elevation of about 1067 meter, river Godavari originates, and then it flows eastward, and then after flowing through several states such as Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Karnataka, it finally discharged its water in the Bay of Bengal through the state of Odisha as such. Holy places are located on the bank of the river, such as Nasik. We know that Nasik is very important place because that's one of the places where you have the organization of Kumbh or Mahakumbh fair. So that's important. Bhadrachalam is another important place here. About 10% of total geographical area of India is drained by river Godavari. That's why I told you, very, very important river, especially for the peninsular country, peninsular state as such. Godavari has numerous tributaries. So if you take a look at few tributaries, important tributary of Godavari, these are Purna, Dudhna, all of these you can say are the left bank tributaries. So Purna, Dudhna, further to the east will have Penganga. Now interestingly, if you look here, Penganga river, you have Vardha river, and then you have the Vainganga river. Penganga, Vardha, Vainganga. All of them then join together to form a single river. This single river is called as Pranhita. Pranhita. So Pranhita is also tributary of Godavari. Then further you have Indravati river and then Sabari river. All of these are the notable left bank tributary of river Godavari. And only important right bank tributary is river Manjira, which is also believed to be the longest tributary of Godavari, which is about 740 kilometers in length as such. So that's how we can understand the Godavari river as such. Second longest peninsular river is river Krishna. Krishna is also an east flowing river. It also originates in the western ghat of Maharashtra near the famous place called as Mahabaleshwar. Mahabaleshwar is a very, very important and tourist place in Maharashtra, this very famous hill station we can say in Maharashtra, and then it finally flows out to the states such as Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, drains out in the Bay of Bengal. Together with its tributaries forms a vast basin that covers 33% the total area of 4 states. So if you try to think, the significance of Krishna lies in the fact that if you talk about these 4 states, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana, and Pradesh, 33% of total area of these states are drained by a single river. That's why Krishna also is one of the disputed river of India. Several of these states have a running dispute about the water sharing of the Krishna river. Many of the states also have put their perspective and their basically petition in the Supreme Court of India as well. The principal tributaries that join Krishna, if you look at the names, that is what you have to keep in mind. In UPSC Prelims, you will see frequently questions are being asked where you have the several rivers given in the option, and you'll have to pick that which of the given rivers are or are not the tributaries of any said river. So Ghat Prabha River, Malaprabha River, Bhima, Tungabhadra, these are the tributaries of river Krishna as such. Then coming to the tributaries, as you have seen, the same thing is being shown here. Important project, if you look here, it is the Nagarjun Sagar project. So Nagarjun Sagar project is a very important project. It is a dam also. Further, you have Sri Salam project. So very important from the perspective of supplying water for the irrigation of the fields in this area. Then coming to the Kaveri river, which is also referred as the Dakshin Ganki Ganga, or called as Ganga of the South. It's flowing in the southeastern direction after originating from the Karnataka. In Karnataka, it originates from the place called as Kodagu. Kodagu, also popularly called as Kurg. Then it flows over the Karnataka plateau over a long distance. It forms several famous waterfall also. You would have heard about falls such as Sivasamudram waterfalls, Hongenakkal waterfalls. So these are the waterfalls located over the river Kaveri itself, and then it descends in the field plains of Tamil Nadu, and then that is where it forms a delta also, which is called as Garden of the Southern India as such. So deltas, it is forming a very large delta, comprehensive delta as such, and the water is used by several states of the southern India such as Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, and obviously Union Territory of Puducherry. Overall, its drainage area is roughly 81,000 square kilometer. Now, a very interesting fact we can mention about river Kaveri is that it is the only peninsular river that receives water during both northeast monsoon and southwest monsoon. The upper catchment area of river Kaveri receives water during the southwest monsoon. The moisture is being brought from the Arabian Sea side, and during the winter season, the northwest monsoon winds are flowing. Moisture is supplied to the lower course of river Kaveri when the wind is blowing from the Bay of Bengal side, and it is due to this region overall the fluctuation of water volume in river Kaveri remains limited to a small extent, relatively lesser extent. If we talk about the important tributaries of Kaveri, if you take a look here one by one, so Harangi is important tributary. Second is Hemavati, Harangi, Hemavati, Arkavati. These are what you can consider as the left bank tributary of river Kaveri. Then we have Lakshman Tirth, Kabani, Suvarnavati. Then we have Bhavani, Noyal, and Amravati. These are considered as the right bank tributary. So overall, we can say 8 major tributaries of river Kaveri. Kaveri river, as you can see also, it is on this river you will find oldest dam of the world, maybe called as Grand Anicut, that was built in the 1st century during the Chola Empire. The original name is Kalinai Dam. So Kalinai Dam or Grand Anicut located on the bank of river Kaveri, on the river Kaveri itself. Now, interestingly, 2 rivers are there that does not follow the general drainage pattern of moving from west to east. Rather, they flow from east to west. So, the west flowing rivers of India, we have 2 river system. These are Narmada River and Tapi River. Now, if you talk about the river Narmada, it is also called as Riva. Previously, it was referred by the name of Narmada and Narbuda as well. Then it is also known as the lifeline of Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. Lifeline of MP and Gujarat. Why? Because most of the people who are living in these states, they are to some extent dependent upon these rivers such as Narmada, for several purposes, whether it is irrigation for the agricultural field, whether it is for the water, drinking water supply, and even for domestic industrial uses as well. So it has a huge contribution to both of the state in many ways as such. Interestingly, river Narmada is flowing in a rift valley like a structure between 2 hill ranges. So in the north, if you look, you will find hill range that is called as Vindhyas. In the south, it is called as Satpura. So here you will find a hill that is Amarkantak. Amarkantak is considered as the place where both Vindhya and Satpura join together. So Amarkantak Hills, and Amarkantak Hills is the origin point of river Narmada. So flowing in the valley, it then comes out, and while flowing through the Gujarat near the city of Bharuch, a very well-known industrial center of Gujarat, it drains out in Arabian Sea. But more precisely, where in Arabian Sea? The answer would be Gulf of Khambat. So in the Gulf of Khambat, rivers drains out forming estuary. Interesting fact that you have to keep in mind here is the east flowing rivers of India, they form deltas, as we have discussed in case of Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. But the west flowing rivers of India, they do not form delta as they lack the sediments. So they form what they call as estuary. That is about river Narmada. Already we have discussed about the length of the river is about 1,312 kilometers. So if you talk about India, it is considered as the fifth longest river of India. That is the significance as far as the river Narmada is concerned. Bheraghat, Omkareshwar, Maheshwar, these are some of the famous cities or towns located over river Narmada. Narmada also is over which we have built several dams. The most popular one being the Sardar Sarovar Dam. So Sardar Sarovar Dam is built over river Narmada. Apart from that, Maheshwar, Indira Sagar, Bargi, these dams also you will find above the same river, this Narmada. Then next river that we have talked about, the second west east from east to west flowing river is the Tapi river. Tapi river is also called as Tapti river. So it is flowing just same pattern in which Narmada river flows. Again, if I draw here, so you have Vindhya range and you have Satpura range. In between them, you have the river Narmada that flows. Similarly, if you go further to the south, you have another hill range called as Ajanta Hills in Maharashtra, and here you have the flow of Tapi river. So both of the river Narmada and Tapi are actually flowing in a rift valley pattern, and because of the similar nature of flow, similar drainage pattern, many times Tapi is also called as a twin or handmaid of Narmada. It originates from the Beltul is the name of the plateau, and in Betul plateau, Multai is tank. So from Multai tank of Betul plateau in the state of Madhya Pradesh, river Tapi originate. Then it flows to three states: MP, then it enters into Maharashtra. The Bhusawal is a famous city you will find on the bank of river Tapi. Then it enters Gujarat, and while it enters Gujarat, a dam has been constructed over it. The dam is called as Ukai Dam. Then it flows through one of the famous city of Gujarat, the industrial center of Gujarat, also we can say coastal Gujarat at least. This city is also called as Diamond City of India, that is Surat. So near Surat, it drains out again in the same Gulf of Khambat where river Narmada is draining out. And same like river Narmada, Tapi river also forms estuary. It does not form delta like structure. So that's about Tapi river. As you can see, the important tributaries, very few tributaries we have to keep in mind because most of the tributaries are very small. The only significant tributary if you have to keep in mind is the river Purna. So Purna is tributary of river Tapi. This is example of the left bank tributary of river Tapi as such. So that's all about this particular video. I hope you got the idea about the important rivers of India, river systems of India, tributaries, the states through which they flow, the origin point, and the final mouth where it discharges its water into the sea. Thank you very much.